With Respawn's Apex Season 9 Legacy coming around the corner, the North Star trailer has spiked the amount of players in Titanfall 2. I'm very happy with this, not only because it decreases queue times, but also because the game of Titanfall itself is really fucking good. In this tutorial, I will talk about the Monarch Titan. This seems to be quite the popular Titan among the streamers so far, and here I come in. Hello, I'm Casper, and in the Titanfall community I am sometimes seen as a prominent Monarch main. Whilst I do not mainly stream Titanfall 2 anymore, and I've moved on to more variety, I have a lot of playtime and connections inside its community. With over 50 generations on Monarch and plenty of playtime, I hope I can convince you that I am qualified to teach you how to play Monarch well, with a lot of fun and death in your wake. During this quote-unquote lecture, I will teach you a lot about the Monarch Titan itself. Hereby, I expect you to know how the other Titans work, and the Monarch is by far the hardest to learn and to master. I also expect you to understand you will always go for Dome Shield and know how the general Titan kits work. Monarch looks really complex with a high amount of customizability, but sadly enough there is not a lot of choice. Let's begin with her abilities and stats. Monarch has 10,000 hit points, or 4 chunks of health bar. 1 dash by default with a cooldown of 5 seconds. Tip, use the turbo engine kit for an extra dash. I will explain why in a little bit, but, well, it's really good. I will warn you in advance too, the Monarch is the weakest Titan when not upgraded, so be wary for other Titans. Monarch's primary weapon is the XO16. The XO16 chain gun is a hit scan and decently accurate gun with 40 ammo and is upgradable. Good sustained damage but bad burst damage. Monarch's defensive is a main weak point, but also her strong point. Without the ability to block incoming fire by using a shield of some sort, she instead stuns targets, deals a slight amount of damage, and applies a partial shield to your health based on the target's health. With a decent cooldown and a hit scan nature, this ability is insanely strong when used as a utility ability. The shields are vital to your survival in any kind of game mode, and the stun can be engagement winning if used correctly. The damage this thing does to shields is also stupid, so be sure to fire this second if you are fighting another Monarch, to nullify their shield gain when they use their own siphon. Cancel the ability by using a melee attack during its active casting. Holding the casting button will not increase its effect, but only delay its activation. Monarch's offensive is Rocket Salvo. While not really doing a lot of damage, the splash attack fires dumbfire rockets in a cone out of your POV, and is really useful for killing pilots, especially if they're inside a building. When combined with Energy Siphon, this can deal a hefty amount of damage to Titans too, especially when upgraded, which we will get into soon. Monarch's utility is completely busted. Rearm is the sole reason we run Turbo Engine over Overcore on a core-based Titan. When starting the cast, Rearm needs 1 second to put both your Energy Siphon and Rocket Salvo off cooldown, and refreshes both of your dashes. Yep, seems fair, right? I will talk about techniques like Rearm Tricking and such later. Monarch's core seems bland, but is really quite complex. When you activate it, it will give you a full bar of shields, 2,500 health, and upgrade your Titan by 1 level. If you've already achieved level 3, it will just apply a full bar of shields. Monarch's upgrade core is divided into 4 stages, but for simplicity's sake we should keep it with 3, because the 4th one's boring and I already explained it. Every upgrade you equip is locked in on drop, so you cannot change the upgrades the Titan has after you drop the Titan, but you can change them for next drop. Whilst it looks pretty cool to instantly upgrade, please do not use the core instantly when you get it. The shields are too valuable to give up. The upgrade cores are the following. Level 1 upgrades will upgrade your basic abilities. Energy Transfer seems cool on paper as it can heal friendly Titans, but trust me, it's just bad. You gain nothing in return, and they don't really gain even that much of a shield. Don't use this, please. Missile Racks doubles the amount of missiles fired by Rocket Salvo. This makes Rocket Salvo a real Titan killing machine, but sadly enough it's not that competitive and gets heavily outclassed by arc rounds. Still, really fun to use though. So, you thought every core one was pretty poo-poo, eh? Arc rounds increase its XO16 ammo capacity by 50, making your reload time more efficient. but also modifies your ammo to have increased effectiveness against defensive abilities, and deals increased damage to shields. This increased effectiveness means that you will deal more damage to particle shield-like abilities, like the particle wall, but will also drain durability of both the vortex and flame shield, which just takes Ion's abilities offline. Watch for the returning fire though if you decide to fire into it. Seems fair, right? Level 2 gives you a huge power spike, and marks you are needed to kill before you reach the final level of upgrade. These are a bit more balanced and a lot more interesting. Energy field increases the splash area of the energy siphon by such a large amount that it will now actually splash. Kind of useless as you will be focus firing targets, and it's just not that useful. It's probably a better idea not to use this. Maelstrom is quite a simple, but a really quite interesting upgrade. It severely increases your electric smoke damage, almost instantly killing pilots and dealing extreme Titan damage. The downside to this is that smoke is incredibly helpful in the lower cores to give you cover and free damage during combat, and you only get 1 charge per core, not counting the counter ready kit, which increases it to 2. Viable option, but I prefer the other one. Rearm and reload makes your rearm even more busted. Half the time needed to rearm and half the time needed to reload. It's quite simple, but incredibly strong. Also, its effect is basically free compared to Maelstrom, which requires your smoke charges. Core level 3 is the goal of the Monarch. You are now of full strength and a force to be reckoned with. Multi-target missile system is bad. Lock-on takes long, missiles have an extremely long cooldown, lock-on is lost incredibly quickly, and there's hardly any damage increase. Fun, but bad. Superior Chassis removes your Titan's crit spots, making headshots impossible, and gives you 2 more chunks of health bar, making you chunkier than Scorch and Legion. Even restores health if you were already doomed before you got this. Exo-16 Accelerator makes the Exo-16 work a bit like a Devotion LMG. The longer you fire, the faster it goes. Damage per bullet is also increased, makes you have even less burst damage, but stupid amounts of sustained damage. There are sadly enough only 2 viable builds, which is a Superior Chassis build and an Accelerator build. You always have Arc Rounds, as it is the only really good Core 1. Then Maelstrom or Rearm and Reload is your Core 2, though I would personally recommend Rearm and Reload. And then the Accelerator or Superior Chassis as your final upgrade. This is what your build should look like now. All of these builds use the same Monarch specific kit, which is Energy Thief. A core gain increase of 10% is already good enough, but it turns your Titan execution into a win condition. It is your goal to get as many as you can, as long as they are reachable. They grant a stupid amount of core charge, a full bar of shields, and some hull. This is what makes her overpowered. Now to the gameplay. First of all, we should talk about who you counter and who you get countered by. Core 1, you want to pick your fights carefully, as you are by far the weakest of all Titans. You do still kind of counter Scorch, but who doesn't really counter Scorch? After getting Arc Rounds, you counter most Titans, including Ion, if you get good at fighting them, with one exception. Out of all Titans, stay the fuck away from Legion. You cannot get rid of his gun shield effectively, even with Arc Rounds, and he deals a constant high amount of damage to you with your lack of defensive. I often run away screaming, even with Core 3. Here are some basic examples of fighting certain Titan chassis. Toe, Northstar, Ion, and Monarch. Get up close and personal in their fate. Keep shooting and stunning, dealing as much damage as possible. Keep in mind the core earn notification in the top right and play defensively if your target acquires it. Be wary for their painful cores. You can also use your smoke, when up close and personal, to deal some extra damage and to distract the enemy. Scorch and Ronin. Stay away a bit. Deal some damage where their close quarters ability cannot reach you. Try dodge the mighty flame core and keep punching away at the sword core Ronin if the Ronin approaches you. Just evade their limited attacks. Legion. As a Monarch, you want to take separated fights. Capitalizing on damage your teammates deal, but also your own is crucial. As said earlier, try to get terminations, but do not lose all your health in the process. All Titans use health as a resource to gain points, and yours is even more important with its factor to snowball in the high amount of points gained per point of health, aka the more health you have, the more value you can get with your higher core Titans. You want to take fights with Titans up close and personal, with the exception of Legion and Scorch, with Legion being the Titan you run away from, and Scorch just dying from a bit of distance. Try to get as much value out of your shield gain abilities as possible, but make sure to lose as little hull as possible. Try to keep your dashes in mind. These will allow you to reach for executions. Sometimes the Titan can back up when they are about to be doomed, and they might back up into their team. Dashing after them and then executing can be a really good idea as long as you are sure to get the execution. This is where Rearm comes in. Use your Rearm to stun, double dash, and then do it again. There is no escape from this. I sometimes use this little trick that I call Rearm Tricking. This is where you use the casting time of Rearm to pump out one dash before you refresh them. This can be used to dash 5 times in the span of 6 to 7 seconds, which is quite a lot. This is done by making the Rearm finish right after your dash refreshes, all the while you use the newly refreshed dash during this cast. It sounds complicated, but basically comes down to me spam dash while using Rearm go ooga booga. Using cover as replacement defensive ability is really quite important. Try to keep in mind the locations of hostile Titans as you want to take fire from as little of them as possible, and get out of pinch situations. You always target the Titan with the least amount of health, even if that means you will get targeted by multiple Titans. If you're going down into the grave, take as many with you as you can. Once you reach Core 3, it might be a good idea to change your game plan. While some people call it pussy, sticking around your team is a good idea, as their Titans will most likely have defensive abilities and make you harder to hit. Doing this, you can keep on dealing damage. If you get doomed before hitting Core 3, it might be a good idea to stay in the backline early to evade executions and pilots. But whatever you do not become the dipshit that everyone's hate. Stop camping with my Titan, you little gremlin. Get out of your AI farming corner and fight like a real pilot. Thank you for watching to my crunch talk. If you're interested in seeing me play, go to my Twitch and stuff, as streaming and creator content is way more enjoyable with people to chat with. I hope you found my tips useful, even though this game is extremely old and unsupported. Thanks for watching, and see you another time.